Hello saviors and welcome, my name is Sahar24 and today I am going to be playing the last episode of March of the Living. Now, already we have done with Greg, Anna, and Derek, which Derek had the most tragic tale out of them all. And now the only thing we got left is Blake. He comes with pretty much everything you would need. He has 30 food rations, 150 rifle bullets, and he has 15 HP, which is more than any other character beforehand. He has an expert in pistols and rifles, with a shotgun intermediates, and his fatigue drops 25% slower. Makes it a lot easier for him to manage fighting on his own. And I get the feeling like that may exactly be what happens, as I gotta play with him all by himself. But at least he comes with an automatic rifle. Got a 2% jamming chance, 30 bullets, and 10 points of damage. I doubt I am going to have any trouble playing with this guy in comparison to what I did before. But just in case, let's try not to get overconfident here. Blake worked as a private security contractor for 15 years, dealing with missions the government didn't want to be directly associated with. Now that the world has changed and wars are no longer fought, he offers his service to protect a group of helpless people. Nearly all the cities have been overrun and it looks like Haverhill is next. Unfortunately, this also happens to be your location and that one of the people you were hired to protect. For the past hour, you have been desperately searching for a way to exit the city, but it's time to face the facts. You're surrounded. The people you're protecting are unarmed, so it's up to you to clear a path out of the city. Well, that was fast. I didn't even get a chance to react. It was like bang as soon as I started up. Okay. Seems like there's no end to this horde of infected. They just keep coming again and again and again. Oh my gosh, hello. Oh my gosh, what is this? Really? Okay, I'm gonna have to switch to this fire set. Whoa! Holy crap, he only... There we go. You finally reach what you thought was a more peaceful part of the city, but once again your path is blocked. Oh my gosh! Are you serious? Okay then. Let's aim for the more threatening ones. Suddenly everything becomes quiet, at least the nearby streets, but you can still hear constant growls of the infected ravaging the rest of the city. It might be better to get out of the city as soon as possible. Whew, that was close. Alright, well, now that that's all done and dealt with... Map? Oh. Okay, so it looks like they made the cities to be extremely dangerous and destinations that you only want to go if necessary. Because this was never in play before. Red areas are danger areas, and it seems like they never used that before, but now every single city is red, and the only chance we have is to go through those to try and get supplies and munitions. But at the same time, that's the problem, because now they're overrun with monstrous, ravenous creatures, and we have to go through those in order to get supplies, because who knows what we'll come up against. This situation got extremely dire. But I'm going to have to go through at least 2 of these cities before I hit the next checkpoint. So I'm going to have to go through 2 of them and try to get as much supplies as possible. With my rifle, it shouldn't be too big a problem, but it's still a problem. Oh my gosh. I have had so much trouble trying to get through this. And Blake is infected. Yeah. I gotta use the trait Good Liar that comes with one of the people that I was guarding, but I'd rather have not get... Here's the thing. I got infected in one of 2 ways. First off, The one that I got infected by afterwards was a bite, which happened in a scenario that I was stupid enough to go through with. the first time Blake got infected, I went to one of those medical lab things where they were, taking blood samples and injecting you with a syringe so they could take blood sample and try to figure out the cause. I think what they did was they hit me with some infection blood. They hit me with some of the infection, so I got infected anyway. I was like, really? I give up my blood in order to gain some rations, and instead I get infected with no rations? So now I gotta use the trait Good Liar. And I got like 2 points of health left. With all the chaos that I went through and the bandage and first aid kit that I started off with, I still am pretty much down to nothing. In order to survive this scenario, I have to side with the guards this time. I can't take the chance. Help the guards. We'll die out there, you know it? My wife, my boys, my baby granddaughter. We'll never make it. No, you'll have to shoot us, I'm afraid. Doesn't look like you'll be able to change his mind. You take aim and fire directly at the gray-haired man's feet. He stumbles backwards in shock, collapsing on the floor and dropping his pistol in the process. A young woman rushes forward, taking the baby from his arms. She walks towards you, tears streaming down from her cheeks. Fine, we'll go. Just please take my baby. Keep her safe for me. I'll take the baby, at the very least. Goodbye, my little princess. I'll always love you. She looks up at you, her gaze meeting at your own. Thank you, she says, with absolute sincerity. With that, she spins around and her group lower their weapons before solemnly marching back towards the gap in the wall, back towards the swarm of infected that are now pouring in. You don't expect they'll last long. Suddenly, the armed guard turns to you with angry scowl across his face. You can't take that thing on board. What if it's infected too? He shoulders his rifle and attempts to snatch the baby from his arms. Shove him away. As the guard leans over, you slam your shoulder into his torso, sending him tumbling to the floor and his rifle skidding away across the concrete. You'll pay for that, he bellows as he jumps back to his feet and brandishing a combat knife. Thinking quickly, you put the baby down to one side. Guard raises his weapon high above his head as he charges directly at you. Luckily, you manage to grab his wrist just in time, but the force of the impact knocks you back, sending your own weapon flying. You glance around, looking for somebody who could help you, but it seems everyone's too busy in dealing with the infected. Do I seriously have to do this? I either completely ignore the plea of the people and don't even take a single one of them on board, or I just completely straight up attack the guard no matter what happens. I'm gonna die! I'm gonna have to do this all over again just to make sure Blake survives and does not get infected this time around. Punch him in the gut, punch him in the face, grab the knife hand. You spring forward, grabbing at his knife hand with both arms. Luckily, you manage to get a hold of his forearm, tightening your grip like a vice. The guard struggles, but is unable to pull free from your hold. Knee him in the groin. Okay, that worked. Stamp on him. He is unconscious. I'm going to leave him there. Alright, so. What the devil is going on there? The general cries as he and several of his men rushed forward. Stop fighting amongst yourselves at once. The real enemy is about to overwhelm our defenses, for crying out loud. He turns to you. I need your help to keep the Rotters at bay for just a few more minutes while we get the last civilians on board. You're our only hold soldier. The general kneels down and picks up the infant. Don't worry about the baby. An innocent life is beyond precious to me. I'll see you're safely on board. You have my word. Thank goodness. And look at my stats. Now I'm practically dead. I got almost no weapons other than my combat rifle, which I had to use a lot of ammunition for. I mean, I at least have him, but never mind. Everybody except for me is equipped with a gun. So I better make my shots count. Okay, everybody else at least has a melee melee weapons so they can at least deal with these guys. I'm using my bullets to deal with the main threats. Oh, there we go. Yay! I made it through! Exhausted from the slaughtering wave after wave, you stagger backwards, unsure whether you can keep going. Suddenly, the ship's foghorns booms out across the docks. You glance up at the deck to see the general waving you towards the entry ramp. Two men are already trying to detach it from the side of the ship, as several affected are shambling towards them. You use your last ounce of willpower to make a desperate dash for the ship, dispatching biters left and right as you go. You race up the entry ramp and leap onto the deck of the ship just as the bolts are detached, sending the entire structure crashing down onto the dockside, crushing several rotters in its wake. Spinning around, you suddenly understand how precarious the situation has been. As far as the eye can see, city crawls with the hordes of undeads. Hundreds, if not thousands, of the vile beasts now flood the quayside where you stood just moments earlier. You feel a strong vibration as the ship suddenly lurches forward and propels itself away from the harbor. You can't help but smile to yourself as you watch countless infected stumble and fall towards the murky waters below. Having barely caught your breath, someone official-looking asks to take some supplies. I'll take you to your quarters now. Following the boy, thank you, it will sincerely. You collapse. Perhaps there is better hope for life after all. Yay! I did it! Okay! I ended up getting such chaos happening. I also don't know what exactly happened, but as soon as I got 5 flashlights on my entire team, my entire screen just decided to glare up all of a sudden, and the brightness is a little high, as you can barely see the ship out in the distance. But this is March of the Living, aka Walking Dead Simulator, as I kept calling it. But that's just going to have to be the end of this series entirely. There wasn't a lot to the storyline for Blake, so there really wasn't a lot to do, other than him just having pretty much an escort mission. But with everything said and done, this game has been a little bit of fun, as well as aggravating, and I have enjoyed playing it to this extent. But thank you guys so much for joining me in this little adventure of March of the Living. I will see you guys in the next episode, so if you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Leave a comment in the section below, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care, everybody!